All right, hey everybody, welcome to episode 34 of the Stop and Give Me 20 podcast. 20 minutes with some of the world's top fitness professionals. I'm your host, Anthony Rennie. You can check out the show notes at stop20podcast.com. That's stop20podcast.com. Make sure you go to iTunes, subscribe to the show, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure you leave us a rating and a review. All right, for today's episode, I have on Mark Fitzgerald, and Mark is in his second season as the strength and conditioning coach for the Anaheim Ducks. Before that, he was the head of performance and nutrition for the Canadian Hockey League, which is the world's largest development hockey league. He's also part of the Under Armour global brand, and he's the owner and director of Elite Training Systems in Whitby. That's their main location with a couple other locations. Coach, thanks for coming on.
Oh, great to be on, Anthony. Thanks for inviting me.
All right, with this resume, I don't know, like when you had time to do this. So
I'm at the rink waiting for the game to start. So
there you go, Coach. Let's get right into it. What's your story? What's that spark that got you into your early fitness lifestyle?
You know what? I think I'm lucky. A lot of it was from my siblings. I have two older brothers, really close to the middle guy, and I remember still. To this day, remember him bringing me to the little storage closet of a gym that we used to go to, and he put a 45 bar on the bench press. He's like, "Give it a shot," and I pinned myself harder than I've ever pinned myself before. And he said, "Hey, that's lifting. It's hard, and it's it's not easy, but it's worthwhile, and it's something that we bonded over, and continue to bond over." And the payback has come around though, because he's a firefighter. So I end up training him and his coworkers or whatever for the FireFit challenges. So I've got him back, but he's definitely the one that, or one of the ones that influenced me heavily. And after that, I started playing football and all those other things. But definitely it was him that introduced me to the weight room and the iron and how beneficial it could be.
Very cool. How old were you when that happened?
I was in grade 8, so 13 years old.
Yeah. Did you guys, was it kind of typical meatheady type stuff that at that time, just doing a big lift?
Oh, straight meathead. Like it was, military press, bench press, decline press, leg day, squats, more squats, leg press, all that good stuff. I wouldn't say I didn't, not that I didn't learn a lot, but it was just more of the raw basics, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did he give you any resistance when you started to kind of turn it around and be like, no, you're doing it all wrong here? And he's your older brother, so.
Yeah, you know what? It wasn't until after university that he started listening to me and realizing that, hey, maybe he should listen to me a little bit more and pay attention to what I'm doing. And then as soon as he did, it was, he obviously saw the benefit, and he's one of my biggest supporters. So he's a great man. So it was an easy thing for him to support me, but the payback sessions are still ongoing.
Nice. Mark, growing up, who was that person that kind of really influenced? Obviously, your brother got you into the weights, and he certainly could be that superhero growing up. So who was that person?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I was thinking about that one quite a bit. It's I think my brother was definitely one of them. I think, and this is probably a bad answer, but the athlete. I was such a sports kid. I'd come home from school, and it was, what sport am I going to play until my parents dragged me off the street? And for me, it was I could never focus on one. It was hockey when it was hockey season. It was baseball when it was baseball season, football, what have you. And it was just, I think the idea of the athlete was always something that drove me or what have you. And that's still to this day. I think it's, you want to be fit, you want to be healthy, you want to be a leader, and all those things. And I think, not to take anything away from my brother, but I think he probably started that in me. And then the more I was put myself in sports and what have you, it was always aspiring to be that, whoever it was, whoever filled in for that season in sport, it was the athlete.
Very cool. Yeah, I could always remember growing up, being a huge hockey fan. And, just if I ever saw one of those guys, I saw Mike Bossy after a game one time. It was like 1980, and he was smoking. And I like couldn't believe it, man. I was like, no way. No, it's impossible. How'd that happen?
Yeah, and you know what? My parents had, got access to some Blue Jay tickets back in the day. So, getting to see those guys up close. And I was a huge baseball kid. There's hockey as well, obviously, but baseball was big. So I liked, Mark McGuire and the Oakland A's when they were the Bash Brothers and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think I ever really singled in on one athlete. I think it was just the idea of their life and their, not necessarily the fame, just kind of all the other little things that went along with it, being fit, being a leader, being the guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. What about now? Who's anyone out there? I know you're exposed to a lot of great people, a lot of great leaders as well, and you're doing so many things. Anyone out there who you're looking up to that's doing some great things right now?
Yeah, you know what? I think this, again, these are tough questions because there's so many answers that I would probably have if it was, more time or whatever. But I think, Arnold Schwarzenegger's always been somebody who his story and his, just the way that he continues to do things, and nobody's perfect, and everybody has their their skeletons in the closet or whatever, but I don't know, I feel like he's just he's always got that fitness and health side of it, whether it's the bodybuilding stuff or the Arnold that just took place there not that long ago. I don't know, I feel like he's got his hands in a lot of things, and you hear him talk on podcasts and stuff, and his story is just incredible, and the fact that he's still contributing to the charities that he is, and still kind of being a leader, even though he's kind of out of office or what have you now. I like his story, and I like how he continues to kind of live his life. And I think it's something that goes probably more unnoticed than maybe it should. I don't know, maybe because of his fame and the movies and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think he's just somebody that's just doing some cool things and continuing to contribute.
Very cool. I think one of the things about him too is how he's kind of reinvented himself a couple of times to really rise to, like best in the world at, whether it was bodybuilding or movies or being a politician. And pretty interesting how somebody can kind of keep reinventing themselves.
And when you hear him talk too, it's just like his attitude and how he looks at things. It's just like you aspire to want to think like that. I know, at least I do. It's just, he's just kicking ass, and that's, it's, you hear him talk and it's like, he's like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be the best. And he does it. And I'm making it sound easy. And obviously it's not, but I like, that kind of mentality is empowering.
Absolutely. What about you? What about, you have the gym, you have the Ducks, you have your son, obviously. I mean, we know you want to be a superhero to him. Who are you trying to be a superhero with your message and with what you're doing?
I think first and foremost, it's athletes, because, they're fortunately what gives me a chance to put food on my table, and working with them to get the best out of them and help them have long careers and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's kind of an obvious answer, but I think more than anything, it's coaches, it's strength and conditioning coaches. Because having the gyms and, having staffs and young people that are working for me and, looking to me for leadership and what have you is such a cool opportunity to, help them along in their careers and hopefully avoid some mistakes, put them in positions that maybe they wouldn't have gotten without, working with me or what have you, which, speaking and stuff like that. And I think that's such a cool and important opportunity that I have, is to, pass along experiences that I've had and mistakes and all those kinds of things, and to help make good coaches. And I get more, like almost daily now, from young coaches looking for advice and, looking for help, which is, I love that. And I answer all of them and, look to help in any way that I possibly can. Just like guys helped me when I was that age and looking for opportunities. And they're all looking for, either it's business owners or, coaches looking to get into the NHL. How do I do it? They're all looking for that magic. A lot of them are looking for that magic answer, or that, the secret that I have. And it's like, sorry, man, there's no secrets. It's a lot of, perseverance. It's a lot of opportunities. It's a lot of people opening doors, what have you. But I think coaches is probably my definitely one of my passions is just, growing that side and helping to contribute to good coaching and making sure that people are being successful.
Cool. Is there any, staying on that line, is there anything that you feel, I know, right now you're part of the Under Armour global brand, and you have, when you say you want to do that, obviously you want to reach out even farther than the coaches at Elite, at ETS, and you have Whippy and you have a couple of locations. Anything else planned to kind of try to stay in that realm of like, how do I help more coaches?
Well, funny you say that, and we didn't talk about this, but yes, I'm starting my own site that'll be up probably in the next month or so, markfitzgeraldstrength.com. And I'm not trying to plug it, but you did ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that'll be a lot of coach and business related, and trying to really put good information out there about coaching development, about obviously a little bit about my path and who I work with and what I'm doing, but a lot of it'll be coaching development. And I'm going to hopefully from that we've put together some mastermind opportunities and small group coaching and hopefully some in-person stuff as we kind of move forward, and really excited about it. And it again, it's still in that early stages, but it's something that I feel like is gonna, when I put some more of the time into it, when I do have the time, it's going to be something I'm going to be really passionate about, because I think it's needed, and I think it's still something that, like I said about the emails and reaching out that I get, is the advice that a lot of these young coaches need. It's not the crazy complicated stuff. It's the keep doing what you're doing, or it's the put yourself out there more, or you know what I mean? It's those little tidbits of advice that are so important, but sometimes you just need to hear it from a different voice. And I think that, the site's going to be largely dedicated to that, is coaching development and helping young coaches, old coaches, whoever, grow their business, grow themselves, all that kind of stuff.
Very cool. We do need it, and there is plenty of room for it, and there's a lot of garbage out there. So to be getting advice from somebody like yourself who has been in it for a long time. One thing you're probably going to battle with is people just thinking all you know about is hockey, right?
Well, yeah, it's funny because I get that a lot. Obviously, hey, I work in hockey. Well, I'm Canadian, so I mean, we're growing up skating and playing at it almost immediately. So yeah, I mean, I work in hockey, but I'm not a hockey player. If you want to count my Monday night shinny at ETS as hockey player, I don't know about that. You'd probably disagree if you saw us play. But I played football. I played lacrosse. I stopped playing hockey in high school because I was playing football. So, I mean, my hockey experience isn't really, that great a depth. So, I mean, I'm not a hockey guy. I'm more of a football and track background. That's where I learned probably the most amount, was in university. We had some great track coaches that, destroyed us in the football off season. And that's where I really fell in love with the coaching side of it and learning about strength and conditioning and nutrition and all that kind of stuff. So really my experience was more derived in football and in that realm.
Yeah.
And I still work with some football players now, not a ton of them, but work with a couple NFL guys, and I love it because that's really where, not that I don't love hockey, but
yeah,
that's the sport that I played, so that's the sport I feel attached to.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Mark, actually, let's stay along this line. What are, coaches ask you that about this idea, about the magic formula, but what are some of the habits that have kind of, I'm kind of big on habits right now, especially just with some of the things I'm like reading and listening to. But what are some of the habits that helped you become who you are and get to where you are?
You know what? I think one of the things that a lot of the coaches say is, what certification, what course can I take, to put those extra little letters behind my name, and what's going to help propel me. And I had a young guy just the other day ask that exact question, and he was USA weightlifting. He had enough, in my opinion, in this obviously specific to him, but in my opinion, he had kind of filled that bucket enough at his point in time. And I said, you need to get yourself some hands-on experience, and I think, years ago it was, only be good at one thing. I even remember thinking that, like, do one thing, do it really well. And now I don't think that applies. I really don't. I think you have to be multi-talented, and I think you have to be, not jack of all trades. That's definitely not what I'm saying, but you definitely have to be a little more well-rounded nowadays. There's so many experts and there's so many gurus out there that, to back yourself up a little bit and be well-rounded. And that doesn't just mean training and nutrition stuff. That means business development. That means, networking, being social, all those things. Because, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm not the X's and O's coach like you and I both know those guys. I feel like I'm a better communicator. I'm a good relationship builder. I can, I think one of my talents would be getting my athletes trust. And I mean, once you have that trust, as long as you know what you're doing on the X's and O's, then you're going to be probably pretty successful. But I've met these coaches that, can't go have a beer with a fellow coach because they just can't, they don't know how to be around in a social setting, and that's, as you and I both know, that's important.
Absolutely.
You better be able to just, take the coaching hat off and be yourself and have some good conversations with people and network. And, that was definitely one of the things. And it seems to be a bigger theme, and whenever people ask me what books I'm reading and all that kind of stuff, it surprises them because, I do my technical reading like we all should and whatever. But a lot of mine, especially now, is geared towards business development and leadership and, just thinking outside the box a little bit and where I want to, life course stuff and whatever. And I think a lot of young coaches and even older coaches just get mired in programming and periodization. It's like, come on, like there's more to it. There's way more to it. I had 3 athletes this summer getting married and going to their weddings. Like that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And that's what gets you going because, you're getting to guide these young people, through their lives, and I'm fortunate that I've had some of my clients for, the junior career, pro career, now they're done and they're still training. And one of them just got engaged the other night, and that's awesome. That's what it's about. I don't care how much he front squats. It's, it's the fact that he had a good career and he's healthy and he's fit and now he's moving into a big part of his life, and that's, I don't know. I think there should be more of a focus on that as opposed to putting another letter and, breathing course beside your name.
Absolutely. Well, let's really quickly, I want to go, you mentioned books. What was the last book book you're currently reading, and just give us a quick takeaway on that.
Last book was Tools of Titans. I've still not done all of it because it's a very thick book.
Yeah.
But again, it's just outside of, I listen to Ferris podcasts quite a bit. Some of them are a little bit long, but, for me, it's just a different way of, seeing what the best people in the world do and how they do it. Their routines, their habits, the fitness, seeing which things are common across the board and what things that I need to kind of pay attention to. I check the box of lifting weights and, eating properly, but, am I checking the box on meditation and, appreciation of people in my life and stuff like that? I think it's one that all coaches should read.
All right. Good stuff. All right, Mark, now it's time for the stop and give me 5 rapid fire questions and answers. You ready for this?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
All right. Favorite arena to travel to?
I would say probably Montreal, just for the history and what have you.
Side note, as a kid, who was your team?
Well, Leafs for sure.
I was
30 minutes from Maple Leaf Gardens.
All right,
so
yeah. If you could have been in any movie, what would it have been?
The Program, 100%. We watched it during high school football playoffs. I don't know if you remember that movie, but I love every minute of it.
Nice. Lunch with anyone from the past. Who is it?
You know what? That's a really tough one for me. I cannot really think about, other than some family members that I never really got to meet. My dad's dad, my grandfather, raised 9 kids, poor. I don't know. I feel like someone in my family that I never got to spend a lot of time with. I'm Irish, so our entire family lives over there. So, I think that would be cool.
Yeah, nice. Biggest adjustment where you're in year 2 now. So last year, kind of like maybe the biggest surprise or biggest adjustment working in the NHL.
I think just the travel, and really, if you ignore the travel and you're not, taking it into account enough, it'll shorten your season pretty fast. And even personally too, like you have to. If you're not eating properly, even as a coach, if you're not eating properly and taking care of yourself, the road will chew you up and spit you out.
Yeah, especially where you are with all the travel on the West Coast. All right, you could pick any trainer to come to ETS. Anybody from the past, who knows? It could be Arnold, could be anybody. Who do you have train you for the day?
That's a tough one too. You know what? I've sat through a bunch of Dan John lectures and what have you. He just seems like my kind of guy. Just pick up some heavy stuff and walk with it and whatever. I think it'd be cool to have a session from him.
All right, very cool. All right, we're winding down. Give me the project you're working on that's kind of getting you really excited.
You know what? I think my own website and all the things that I'm going to do out of there. The Under Armour thing is really exciting, as you mentioned already. Is I've been with Under Armour now for 10 years in Canada, and that I'm still continuing that role, but now they've kind of expanded it to this globally, which there's a team of about 10 of us, and I'm really excited for that because we've got a guy in charge of it who's just one of those guys you want to be around. And he's somebody that is going to do some good things, and I think there's a bright future on that side.
All right, love it. Mark, what's the letter to your younger self? What advice you going to give yourself?
You know what? Start now. Stop waiting. Stop putting things off. Imperfect action is better than no action. I was a kid that was always, not a kid, but as a young guy, I was afraid of getting up in front of the room and, saying my piece. Whereas now I obviously don't have that same problem, but, I think it would be give myself a kick in the ass and just say, hey, get up and do it. Failing's okay. But start now, stop aiming and start shooting. Love it.
What is the Gretzky quote? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, I'm really glad that you're going to be kind of putting yourself out there a little bit more and looking forward to this website because we need more coaches like you kind of spreading the word. So we really appreciate you coming on today. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's a great show. I'm a big fan. I listen to everyone.
All right. Well, we got you tomorrow. And for all you listening out there, Mark's going to be on the Strength Coach podcast next episode as well. So, again, Mark, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for episode 34 of the Stop and Give Me 20 podcast. Thanks again to Mark Fitzgerald. Make sure to check out all the links to all his stuff at stop20podcast.com. Don't forget, subscribe to the show. Leave us a review and a rating. My name's Anthony Renna. Thanks so much for stopping by.